All right, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into American English idioms. We've got this great YouTube video source, 200 Best American Idioms from English with Kayla.
Yeah, Kayla's video is a fantastic starting point. It pulls together so many of those, everyday phrases that sound kind of weird if you take them literally.
Exactly, but they're totally key to understanding how people actually talk in the U.S. So our mission for you today is pretty simple. We want to make these common idioms feel, well, less weird and more familiar.
Think of it as a quick guide, so you can, sound more natural yourself and also catch the real meaning when you hear them.
Right. No more feeling lost in the conversation.
And it's interesting, the variety here. Some are ancient, some are newer slang. As we go, you'll probably have some aha moments.
Oh, yeah, making those connections. Okay, let's start. First one, buckle in.
Right, like a seatbelt?
Exactly, that's the core idea. But Kayla explains, when you say it outside a car, it means get ready. Prepare for something challenging or difficult.
Yeah, she gave that example of a professor, right? Telling the biology class to buckle in.
Yeah, because the semester was going to be tough. It's about mental prep.
Bracing yourself, yeah. That image of being secured for a rough ride works.
Okay, next one. Cut to the chase. I think we all kind of wish people would do this sometimes.
Yeah. Get to the main point, basically. Stop rambling.
But Kayla makes a good point. You got to be a bit careful. It can sound, well, blunt.
Totally.
Yeah.
Especially if someone's really excited about their story.
So delivery matters. It's useful, but, be respectful.
Efficiency, but with tact. Okay.
Now this one, the whole 9 yards. I've always wondered about the 9.
Right. It's weird. We usually think in tens or dozens.
It means everything, all the details. Kayla used wedding planning, the venue, the food, the dress.
The whole 9 yards, yeah.
So where does the 9 come from?
Well, that's the mystery. There are tons of theories. Maybe fabric for a suit, ammo belts and WWII, torpedoes. But yeah, the exact origin is kind of lost. Doesn't matter though. Everyone knows it means everything. Completeness.
Speaking of things costing a lot, cost an arm and a leg.
Oh yeah. Means super expensive.
Kayla called it an oldie but a goodie. Still used all the time. Like those weddings again.
Definitely. Those can cost an arm and a leg for sure. That's such a vivid phrase, isn't it? The sacrifice involved.
It really drives the point home. Okay, barking up the wrong tree.
This means you're looking in the wrong place or asking the wrong person.
Kayla joked about asking her about British phrases. She's American English, so you'd be barking up the wrong tree.
Right, the image she used. The dog barking at the tree where the squirrel isn't.
Yeah, that's perfect. Wasting your energy in the wrong spot.
Exactly. Directing your effort where it won't pay off.
Okay, feeling a bit sick. Not terrible, just meh.
You're probably under the weather.
That's the one. Kayla says it's the go-to for feeling slightly ill. Like a cold. It's polite, kind of vague.
And she made that good distinction. You wouldn't use it if someone's seriously ill in the hospital.
Right. It's for minor stuff. A bit of an understatement.
Temporary dip.
How about something really common, easy to get, maybe cheap?
That's a dime a dozen.
Yeah. Kayla mentioned common trading cards. The idea being, back then, a dime bought you a lot of basic stuff.
That historical price helps, yeah.
Yeah.
Highlights how, abundant and therefore not very valuable something is.
Ever been totally speechless? Maybe embarrassed?
Someone might ask, cat got your tongue?
Classic. You hear it in movies all the time. It's often playful, right?
Yeah, nudging someone to speak up. Why so quiet? The image is funny.
Definitely memorable.
Yeah.
Okay, shifting gears to being more assertive. Take the bull by the horns.
Facing your fears head on. Confronting a challenge directly.
Kayla's example was someone terrified of public speaking.
Signing up for a speech class anyway.
Yeah.
That's taking the bull by the horns.
It really conveys that bravery needed.
Grabbing hold of something powerful and difficult.
This next one happens constantly. Speak of the devil.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about someone and boom, they appear.
Right then. Kayla said it can seem a little impolite, maybe because of the devil part.
Maybe. But it's used so often, usually in a lighthearted, surprised way.
And the full phrase is, speak of the devil and they will appear.
Right. Just noting the coincidence.
Doubting something. Need proof.
Then seeing is believing.
You need to witness it yourself to really accept it. Kayla talked about the NYC subway.
Yeah, someone doubts it's efficient until they actually experience it.
It emphasizes that firsthand experience. Just hearing isn't always enough.
Right. Need that personal proof.
Ready to give up. Can't take anymore.
You throw in the towel.
Comes from boxing, right?
The corner throws in a towel to forfeit.
Exactly. a clear signal of surrender. Makes the meaning super obvious.
Kayla mentioned wanting to quit basketball as a kid.
But her mom wouldn't let her throw in the towel. Yeah, good story.
Okay, when someone's being really firm, not budging an inch.
They're putting their foot down. Like Kayla setting limits on her kids' TV time. No more negotiation.
It's a strong visual, isn't it? Asserting authority. Final answer.
What about when something gets popular and suddenly everyone's a fan?
They jump on the bandwagon.
Kayla used the Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. People who only become fans then.
Bandwagon fans, yeah. It happens with sports, music, trends, everything.
It's that desire to be part of what's successful or popular, I guess.
Yeah, hopping on something that's already got momentum.
If someone keeps going smoothly, even with interruptions.
They didn't miss a beat.
Kayla said it's often a compliment. Like for someone giving a presentation who just powers through a distraction.
Shows focus, resilience, keeping that momentum.
To completely change things up, a total reversal.
You flip the script.
Like Kayla's example of the failing student who suddenly starts acing everything.
Yeah, the teacher says, wow, you really flipped the script.
Yeah.
It's a dynamic shift.
Okay, when a conversation gets too bogged down in the tiny specific details.
It's getting into the weeds.
Kayla mentioned engineers sometimes do this getting super technical.
Right. Details most people don't need or understand. It's a way of saying, let's zoom out a bit.
Need to take action. Especially like asking someone out.
Time to make a move.
Kayla used the crush example, but said it applies more broadly too. Any big step you've been thinking about.
Yeah, moving from hesitation to action.
Remembering a key detail for context.
You need to bear in mind something.
Kayla said her husband uses this a lot. Her snow story example, bear in mind it was freezing, so they didn't stay out long.
Right. It flags important context. Remember this piece of info.
Talking about the future, not right now, but later.
Super common one. Down the road.
Kayla used the English learning example. Basic phrases now. Idioms.
Down the road. Yeah. Simple. Everyone gets it.
Something that totally changes the situation for good or bad.
That's a game changer.
The iPhone was Kayla's example. Huge positive impact.
But maybe some negatives too, like screen time. Yeah.
It highlights something pivotal, a fundamental shift.
Yeah.
Feeling disorganized, overwhelmed, need to focus.
You might tell yourself to get it together.
Kayla said she does that. Like, okay, calm down, focus.
But she warned about saying it to others.
Yeah. Can sound harsh if someone's emotional.
Yeah.
It's more for self-talk or maybe close friends.
Good point. Regain composure.
Something happened really fast, maybe surprisingly fast.
It happened before you know it.
Kayla's teaching example thought it would take ages, but boom, she had a classroom.
Time flies. It emphasizes that speed, the surprise.
When a deal sounds amazing, maybe too amazing.
You ask, what's the catch? Or you think, there has to be a catch.
Right. What's the hidden problem? Kayla mentioned low car interest rates.
Often having hidden fees.
Yeah.
The catch. It's healthy skepticism. Look deeper.
Two people or things that fit perfectly together, get along great.
They're like two peas in a pod.
Kayla said it's used for similar people, close friends, couples. Very compatible.
It's a cute one. Natural closeness.
Totally amazed or shocked. Good or bad.
Can't believe my eyes. Or can you believe your eyes?
Kayla used those home makeover shows. The big reveal.
Yeah, total astonishment. But like you said, context is key.
Mm-hmm.
Is it good shock or bad shock?
Definitely need the context. Okay, stuck between two bad choices.
You're between a rock and a hard place. Or choosing between two evils.
No good options. Kayla used that general maybe your mom example for us to picture a tough choice.
Yeah, paints a clear picture. A real predicament.
Someone brand new to a place or culture. Unfamiliar.
They might be described as fresh off the boat.
Kayla pointed out people fly now, obviously, but the phrase stuck. Figurative meaning.
Right. Still adjusting, learning the ropes.
Something totally pointless or impossible to do.
Don't even bother.
Like trying to memorize every single English word. Just don't bother.
It's dismissive, not worth the effort, futile.
Finish something quickly. Get it done fast.
And knock it out.
Kayla tries to knock out her morning tasks fast.
Conveys speed, efficiency, just get it done.
How do people often hear about things like a new restaurant or maybe this deep dive?
Hopefully word of mouth.
Exactly. Hearing it informally from someone else.
Yeah, personal recommendations. Still powerful.
Ready to start something right now.
Oh, time.
Like in the movies, right before the action starts.
Yep. Energetic signal. Let's do this.
Extra credit. Optional info.
Bonus points.
Kayla mentioned asking a good follow-up question gets bonus points.
It's playful. Something
Disney.
extra, above and beyond.
Gripping something really tight because you're scared.
You've got white knuckles.
Kayla said you can even verb it. White knuckling the steering wheel.
Yeah, on a roller coaster maybe?
Yeah.
The physical sign of fear.
Yeah.
Very descriptive.
Having to humble yourself. Do something difficult for your ego.
You have to swallow your pride.
Kayla shared needing help cleaning or asking basic questions when learning a language.
Right. Overcoming that ego to get help or learn. It's tough sometimes.
When things descend into chaos, totally out of control.
They're going off the rails.
Like a train derailing. Kayla applied it to life situations spiraling.
Very effective image. Disorder, unpredictability.
A polite way to give permission? Sure, go ahead.
By all means.
Like if someone asked to borrow your pen, by all means.
It's formal, courteous. Yes, certainly.
Packing very minimally for a trip. Only essentials.
You travel light.
Kayla contrasted it with taking everything. Light traveler might just have a backpack.
Emphasizes efficiency. No extra baggage, literally or figuratively.
Thinking someone is absolutely perfect, maybe unrealistically so, often said sarcastically.
You worship the ground they walk on.
Kayla's Lady Gaga fan example, the sarcasm is key.
Totally. It highlights that over-the-top, maybe unreasonable admiration.
A place of honor for the best, like in sports?
The Hall of Fame.
Baseball Hall of Fame is the classic, but used figuratively too for excellence.
Signifies the peak. Top recognition.
Truly excellent, among the best globally.
That's world-class.
Kayla mentioned Chicago having world-class restaurants, museums.
Denotes that highest standard. International recognition.
Something incredibly lucky happens.
You hit the jackpot.
Like finding an amazing partner, Kayla suggested.
Great fortune, unexpected success. Feels good.
Risking absolutely everything.
You'd bet the house.
Usually about money or a big gamble.
Emphasizes the huge stakes. All or nothing.
Really sure something will happen. Totally confident.
You can bank on it.
Kayla used a weather prediction example. Like, it's definitely going to rain. Bank on it.
Strong conviction. Certainty about the future.
Is something likely or unlikely to happen? Fated, maybe?
It's either in the cards or not in the cards.
Like making dinner plans, maybe it's just not in the cards tonight.
Suggests probability, maybe even destiny.
Something strong, durable, built to last.
It's heavy duty.
Heavy-duty boots, jackets, tools. The opposite of cheap and flimsy.
Right. Emphasizes toughness, resilience.
Just, okay, acceptable, but not amazing.
Hey, good enough.
Kayla mentioned a teacher's answer meeting the minimum or an old reliable car. It does the job.
Signifies adequacy. Meets the need, but isn't special.
Questioning a past decision. Reconsidering.
Having second thoughts.
Kayla used getting married, big decision, second thoughts can happen.
Yeah, that feeling of doubt creeping in, reevaluating.
Doing something just for enjoyment, not seriously.
Just for fun.
Like Kayla's casual poker game example.
Emphasizes the recreational side. No pressure.
Highest quality. The very best.
That's top-notch.
Top-notch restaurant, top-notch teacher, top-notch work.
Signifies excellence. Cream of the crop.
Relaxed, understated, not flashy.
Low-key.
A low-key party or someone with a low-key personal style.
Subtle, relaxed, unpretentious.
Unusual, eccentric, maybe a weird idea.
That's off the wall.
Like Kayla's coworker with a bizarre suggestion can be negative, like a bad idea.
Unconventional, unexpected, sometimes strange.
Ordinary, average, totally standard.
Run-of-the-mill.
Kayla used a mediocre movie example
Right.
and mentioned it's often said fast, like run off the mill.
Commonplace.
Yeah.
Not special, just average.
Expensive and luxurious. Fancy.
High-end.
High-end apartment, high-end car. Kayla noted it's often used instead of just saying expensive.
Implies premium quality and cost. Luxury.
Exaggerated reaction, overly dramatic.
Over the top.
Kayla's theatrical marriage proposal example, often negative.
Yeah, excessive. More than the situation warrants.
Someone lazy, irresponsible, especially not paying child support.
A deadbeat. Specifically, a deadbeat dad is common.
Kayla stressed this is very negative.
Oh, definitely. Harsh criticism for shirking responsibility.
Exceptionally good. Better than the usual standard.
Next level.
Next level presentation, next level food.
Signifies a significant jump in quality or skill.
Relaxed, easygoing, not stressed.
Laid back.
A laid-back party, a laid-back person.
Calm, unhurried vibe.
Strong, dependable, reliable.
Rock solid.
Rock solid marriage, rock solid friendship, even a rock solid table.
Emphasizes reliability, stability, can withstand pressure.
Really excited, super enthusiastic, slang term.
Hyped.
Hyped for a concert, hyped for Christmas.
High energy, Lots of anticipation.
Indecisive, always changing their mind.
Wishy-washy.
Kayla used a boss who can't decide. Or unpredictable weather. Generally negative.
Lack of firmness. Wavering back and forth.
Tacky, overly sentimental, maybe insincere.
Cheesy.
Cheesy Facebook post, cheesy romantic movie.
Lacks good taste or feels forced.
Neatly dressed, stylish, maybe a bit dated.
Spiffy.
Spiffy dress, spiffy shoes. Kayla noted it's maybe more British.
A bit, yeah. But understood. Smart appearance, but sounds a little old-fashioned.
Crazy, wild, insane, also maybe more British.
Bonkers.
A bonkers crowd, a bonkers idea.
Informal for totally out of control or ridiculous.
Really good, authentic, slang, maybe older millennials, Gen X.
It's
Like, this food is legit.
affirm something is genuine, high quality, slangy.
Bold, unconventional, pushing boundaries.
Edgy
Edgy artwork, edgy fashion.
can be provocative.
Deliberately goes against the norm.
Stylish, fancy, again, maybe a bit dated.
Snazzy.
Snazzy shoes, snazzy car. Eye-catching, fashionable. Similar feel to spiffy.
Unreliable, often cancels plans.
Flaky.
Kayla's example, the friend who always flakes on helping you move. Negative.
Undependable. Doesn't follow through.
Low quality, bad taste, vulgar.
Trashy.
Trashy clothes, trashy behavior.
Yeah.
Definitely negative.
Derogatory. Poor quality. Often offensive.
Very bold, courageous. Slang, potentially inappropriate.
Ballsy.
Kayla's coworker example. Gotta be careful with this one.
Yeah. Extreme boldness can have rebellious or crass connotations. Know your audience.
Risky, uncertain outcome.
Dicey.
A dicey situation, a dicey investment, a dicey connecting flight.
Unpredictable, potentially negative result.
Something finally arrives, often unexpectedly. Internet slang.
Blank has entered the chat.
Kayla's examples. Relaxation has entered the chat. Ice cream has entered the chat.
It's a funny modern way to announce something's arrival.
Did really well, performed amazingly. Newer slang.
Popped off.
Like her outfit popped off, or the team really popped off tonight, sales popped off.
Means it was exceptional, amazing, gaining traction.
Generally speaking, for the most part, typically.
By and large.
By and large, the weather is sunny here. By and large, it was a good day. Kayla noted it's grammatically a bit odd.
Yeah, but common for making general statements.
A strict, unmovable deadline. Or an emphatic end to an online opinion.
A hard stop.
The meeting has a hard stop at 3 p.m. Or, Coke is better than Pepsi. Hard stop.
Firm limit, non-negotiable end.
Unsuccessful, a failure, didn't meet expectations. Slang.
A flop,
The movie was a flop. My dinner party was a flop.
failed outcome, poorly received.
The amount of time someone can focus.
Their attention span.
Kayla mentioned kids' attention spans and how social media might affect ours. Made you think, right?
Yeah. How long can you concentrate?
Just remembered something because it was mentioned.
Now that you mention it,
Now that you mentioned food, I am hungry. Now that you mention it, I did see him at the party.
triggered recollection. Oh yeah.
This demonstrates or proves a point.
This goes to show.
This goes to show practice helps. This goes to show seatbelts save lives. Kayla's astronaut example goes to show what's possible.
Draws a conclusion. Highlights a lesson.
Minor setback. Not a big deal, just a small loss.
Can't win them all.
Copy machine breaks. Kids lose the game. Well, can't win them all.
Casual acceptance of small failures. Move on.
Regretting a past decision that seems foolish now.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Hiking without water. Buying that expensive car. What was I thinking?
Regret, lack of foresight. Seems silly in hindsight.
Regardless of circumstances. Totally committed.
No matter what.
I'll be there no matter what. I love this movie no matter what. I'll finish college no matter what.
Unwavering commitment. Guaranteed outcome.
Complimenting someone's knowledge. Informal.
You really know what you're talking about.
Like Kayla's ophthalmologist example. They clearly explain things.
Acknowledges expertise. Casual praise.
Admitting someone made a good point. Convinced you.
You've got me there.
Like in Kayla's Game of Thrones argument example.
Okay, you win.
Conceding a point. Acknowledging you're persuaded.
Liking someone's style or choices.
They have good taste.
Good taste in music, clothes, movies. Kayla joked about the matching outfits couple still having good taste.
Compliment on aesthetic choices. Preferences.
Happened extremely quickly, suddenly.
In the blink of an eye.
The accident happened in the blink of an eye. He got promoted in the blink of an eye.
Emphasizes extreme speed. Suddenness.
Delivering shocking bad news. Or a powerful, impactful truth.
To drop a bomb. Or drop a truth bomb.
Forgetting your passport is dropping a bomb. Talking about global warming could be dropping a truth bomb.
Significant, impactful info, often with emotional weight.
A general idea, something similar, vague.
Along the lines of,
Let's get something along the lines of Italian food. My weekend plans are along the lines of what you suggested.
indicates a general direction or concept, not specific.
Too assertive, pressuring someone.
Being pushy or pushing something on someone.
A pushy salesperson, someone pushing more food on you when you're full.
Overly insistent, forceful, often unwelcome.
Gradually starting to like or dislike something.
Grow to like or grow to dislike.
Kayla's Bad Bunny example didn't like it at first, but grew to like it.
Describes that gradual shift in feeling over time.
Offering an incentive, a reward to motivate.
To dangle something.
Dangle candy for cleaning the room, dangle a promotion for hard work. Can be manipulative if the promise is fake.
Offering a potential reward can imply manipulation sometimes.
Looking back at the past with current knowledge.
In retrospect.
In retrospect, I should have bought Apple stock. In retrospect, I needed a warmer coat.
Reflecting on the past with hindsight. Knowing better now.
Making a lot of money. Informal, maybe humorous.
Bring in the big bucks.
Like Ed Sheeran bringing in the big buck.
Colloquial for earning a lot.
Attention suddenly focused on something.
It comes into the spotlight.
Kayla's submarine example brought that issue into the spotlight.
Gaining significant public attention.
Boldness or rudeness that seems inappropriate.
The audacity.
The audacity of the boss being late, then demanding things. The audacity of parents commenting on your life, usually negative.
Expresses shock or disapproval at someone's impudence.
Looking very sad and helpless. Evokes sympathy.
To look like a sad puppy.
Like the losing team looking like sad puppies.
Makes you feel sorry for them. Dejected look.
Mentioning a topic. Starting to talk about it.
To bring up something.
Don't bring up his job loss. Do you bring up the hiring freeze? Maybe don't bring up politics.
Introduce a topic into conversation.
Finalizing something. Making it firm. Sealing an agreement or opinion.
To seal the deal.
Okay, that seals the deal. I hate snow. The client signed. Sealing the deal.
Confirmation. Finalization. It's done.
Behaving rudely. Negatively. Uncooperatively.
Giving attitude.
That coworker's always giving me attitude.
Disrespectful, uncooperative behavior.
Highlighting the main point or the central problem.
Here's the thing.
I want to go to the party, but here's the thing. I don't have a car.
Signals the crucial issue. Focus on this.
Asking someone to consider a difficult situation. Rhetorical.
Imagine having to.
Imagine having to feed 10 kids. Imagine having to rebuild after a fire.
Prompts empathy or consideration of a challenge.
Ignoring negative realities. Refusing to accept the truth.
To live in denial.
Living in denial about credit card debt. Living in denial about unhealthy habits. Kayla added, ignorance is bliss.
Refusing to acknowledge unpleasant truths.
When any choice will be a good one.
You can't go wrong.
Vanilla or chocolate ice cream. You can't go wrong.
Assures that all options are good. No bad choice.
Announcing you're leaving. Casual.
We're off.
Or we're off.
Okay, we're off to lunch. See ya.
Simple announcement of departure.
Forced to decide instantly. No time to think. Weird phrase.
Like having a gun to your head.
Kayla used a would you rather example. Quick. Forced choice.
Emphasizes extreme pressure for a rapid decision.
The scope or degree of something. Size, impact, duration.
To the extent of.
The extent of the damage was huge. What's the extent of your duties? Indicates the range or magnitude.
Standing for everything means you stand for nothing, which leads to.
Right. Dilutes your support. But importantly.
You should stand up for someone. Defend them.
Exactly. Especially someone being bullied or harassed. Kayla mentioned standing up for disabled people.
Important moral action.
Yes.
Using your voice to defend others.
Boasting.
Yeah.
Making big claims, maybe without backing them up.
To talk a big game.
Kayla used Conor McGregor talks a big game.
But then needs to back it up in the fight. Yeah. Exaggerated claims, maybe empty.
Really difficult. Challenging. Requires lots of effort.
An uphill battle.
Cleaning the house after kids. An uphill battle. Learning English as an adult can feel like an uphill battle.
Persistent, arduous struggle. Feels like fighting gravity.
Don't take advice too seriously, especially from non-experts.
Take it with a grain of salt.
General life advice, career tips from someone outside the field. Take it with a grain of salt.
Cautious approach. Consider the source. Don't swallow it whole.
Actions should match your words. Do as you say. Practice what you preach.
Kayla's late boss example telling others to be on time but isn't. Not practicing what they preach.
Integrity. Consistency between words and actions. Key principle.
Can't have two mutually exclusive benefits.
And you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Want the big promotion and tons of vacation. Probably can't have your cake and eat it too.
Highlights conflicting desires. Can't have it both ways.
Sharing bad news with someone excited. Spoiling their mood.
To rain on their parade.
They're excited for the outdoor concert, but you tell them rain is forecast, you're raining on their parade.
Dampening enthusiasm. Delivering unwelcome news.
Acting impulsively. Driven by emotion without thinking.
The heat of the moment.
Saying something hurtful in an argument in the heat of the moment.
Acting without careful thought due to strong emotions.
Risky situation. Close to trouble. Precarious.
On thin ice.
Literally on a frozen lake. Figuratively, missing work deadlines puts you on thin ice.
Unstable situation. Could easily lead to problems.
Be careful. Gentle. Slow down.
Easy does it.
Moving a heavy couch. Easy does it.
Cautionary phrase. Handle with care. Go slowly.
Yeah, go ahead, do your own thing. Don't mind me. Informal.
Do your thing.
You walk in on someone cooking? Oh, hey, just do your thing.
Encouragement to proceed without interruption.
Compete directly. Face off.
Go head to head.
The two best players went head to head. Another way to say compete.
Direct confrontation or competition.
Arrive. Be present, be reliable and consistent.
To show up.
Part of a good work ethic is just showing up, being there consistently.
Emphasizes presence, reliability, being dependable.
Everyone has different opinions, preferences, and that's okay.
To each their own.
You hate that expensive bag. To each their own. You like hot coffee in summer. To each their own.
Acceptance of differing tastes or views. Live and let live.
Get involved quickly, join in.
Jump in.
See someone struggling, jump in and help. Have an idea in a meeting, jump in.
Quick involvement in an activity or conversation.
Become very strict about rules, often after being relaxed.
To lay down the law.
The boss was chill, but people took advantage, so they had to lay down the law.
Enforcing rules strictly. Getting serious.
Succeed at something difficult or unexpected.
To pull it off.
Pass the test without studying. Wow, you pulled it off! Ferris Bueller pulled off his day off.
Accomplish something challenging or surprising. Managed it somehow.
I understand your complaint because I've felt it too. You don't need to explain.
I don't have to tell you, or you don't have to tell me.
Traffic was awful. You don't have to tell me. Life is so busy. I don't have to tell you.
Shared understanding based on mutual experience. Empathy.
Keep trying. Persist.
Don't give up.
This math problem is hard. Don't give up.
Simple, direct encouragement. Persevere.
Research. Investigate. Find out more.
To look into something.
I need to look into buying a new car. Maybe you should look into singing lessons.
Suggestion to explore further. Gather information.
Keep someone updated. Informed.
Keep someone in the loop.
Keep me in the loop on the client feedback. Common in work settings.
Regular updates. Sharing necessary information.
Try something. Attempt it, maybe for the first time.
Give it a shot.
Never cooked lamb before. Give it a shot.
Encouragement to try even without certainty of success.
Stop something abruptly. Discontinue it.
Pull the plug.
The project was failing, so they pulled the plug. Pulled the plug on the festival due to weather.
Decisive termination. Sudden end.
Adapt to difficulties. Keep going despite setbacks. Be resilient.
Roll with the punches.
Learning a language is hard. You gotta roll with the punches. Make mistakes. Keep going.
Adaptability. Resilience in the face of challenges.
Finish. Stop what you're doing. Conclude.
Wrap up.
Okay, let's wrap up this meeting. Need to wrap up my work for the day.
Conclude an activity. Bring it to an end.
Make something seem better or more important than it is. Exaggerate.
To play up something.
Playing up their wealth on Instagram, playing up how sick they are to get sympathy. Often deceptive.
Emphasize or exaggerate positives, sometimes falsely.
Increase intensity. Or slang for party, have fun.
To turn up.
Turn up the volume. Turn up the heat. Or slang. Let's go out and turn up tonight. Kayla noted the temperature confusion potential.
Yeah, versatile. Increase something or party hard. Slang.
Try something even if you're not skilled. No expectation of perfection.
Take a stab at something.
I'll take a stab at making that recipe. Not sure how it'll turn out.
Make an attempt despite inexperience or uncertainty. Give it a go.
Go ahead with a plan or idea. Try it out.
Run with it.
Good idea for dinner. Okay, let's run with it.
Proceed with a plan. See how it goes. Simple execution.
Consider the future. Plan ahead.
To think ahead.
Thinking ahead about retirement. Thinking ahead to next week's schedule.
Future planning and consideration.
Approximate amount or time. Around that number.
Dare take.
The watch costs $100, give or take.
Right.
It'll take an hour, give or take.
Indicates an estimate, approximately.
Reduce the amount of something, consume less.
To cut back on something.
Need to cut back on spending, trying to cut back on junk food, cut back on driving.
Decrease quantity or frequency.
Yeah.
Reduce consumption.
Guilty. Responsible for a mistake. At fault.
To be in the wrong.
After the argument, I realized I was in the wrong. You need to admit when you're in the wrong.
Signifies being at fault or mistaken.
No matter what. Again, reinforcing that commitment or inevitability.
Right. Like, I'll help you move no matter what. Or, seems like it rains on my birthday no matter what. Strong feeling.
But then there's no matter what I try.
Ah, yeah. That's different. That's frustration. Despite all efforts, it still doesn't work.
Kayla's toy car example just won't work, no matter what I try.
Repeated failure leading to exasperation.
Suddenly realizing something. Remembering.
It dawned on me.
It dawned on me. I left the stove on. It finally dawned on me where I knew her from.
Sudden awareness. The realization hits you.
Annoyed. Irritated. Informal slang.
Irked.
I was irked when he showed up late again. That dripping faucet really irked me.
Mild anger or annoyance.
Calm down. Relax. Slow down.
Informal.
Slow your roll. Whoa. Planning the trip is stressing you out. Slow your roll. Kids getting too hyper. Slow your roll.
Moderate intensity or pace. Chill out a bit.
Overlooked. Forgotten. Missed.
To slip through the cracks.
Sorry, that email must have slipped through the cracks. Don't let this task slip through the cracks.
Being missed due to oversight. Failure to notice.
Initial impression. First assessment.
At first
glance, the problem seemed simple, but it wasn't.
preliminary observation. Initial look.
Without preparation, spontaneously.
Off the cuff.
He gave the speech completely off the cuff. Her off-the-cuff remarks were insightful.
Unprepared. Impromptu.
Trying to fit someone into a busy schedule. Make time.
To work somebody in.
My hairdresser's busy, but maybe she can work me in. Trying to work in some exercise.
Find space in a full schedule. Squeeze them in.
Seems easy, but is actually difficult.
It's harder than it sounds.
Learning English, it's harder than it sounds. Starting a business, definitely harder than it sounds.
Underestimated difficulty. More challenging than it appears.
Have the courage, the bravery.
To have the guts.
Do you have the guts to go skydiving? Did he have the guts to ask her out?
Possessing the nerve or courage for something scary difficult.
Improve performance. Put in more effort.
Step up your game.
The coach told the team they need to step up your game. You need to step up your game at work.
Call for improvement. Increase effort quality.
Tease someone. Joke around or criticize harshly. Informal. Context matters.
To bust your chops.
Friends bust each other's chops playfully, but a boss busting your chops might be serious criticism.
Can be teasing or harsh critique. Depends heavily on tone and relationship.
Highest quality. The best. Revisited.
Top notch. Yep. Reinforcing that meaning. Top notch hotel, top notch performance.
Okay. Acceptable. Nothing wrong.
Perfectly fine.
The weather's perfectly fine for a walk. Leaving your shoes on. That's perfectly fine.
Acceptable. Adequate. No issues.
Calm down. Relax. Slow down. Informal can be slightly aggressive.
Cool your jets.
A friend keeps asking, "Are you coming yet?" Tell them to cool their jets.
Can sound impatient or dismissive. Tone matters. Means calm down.
Focus your efforts. Direct your energy.
Channel your energy.
Channel the kids' energy into a game. Channel your energy into finding a new job.
Direct focus and effort toward a specific goal.
Fundamentally different. Cannot be compared.
Apples and oranges.
Trying to compare those two things, it's apples and oranges.
Dissimilar items. Comparison isn't logical or meaningful.
Awkward. Embarrassing to witness.
Cringeworthy.
That comedian was cringeworthy. The overly emotional speech was cringeworthy.
Induces secondhand embarrassment or discomfort. Hard to watch.
Perfectly suited to someone's interests or skills.
Right up their alley.
That anime movie is right up his alley. This puzzle is right up her alley.
Perfect fit for their tastes or abilities.
Definitely true. Emphasize certainty. Strong affirmation.
You best believe it.
Will you speak English well if you practice? You best believe it.
Emphatic confirmation. Absolutely true.
Confused. Unable to answer. Don't know. That grammar question really stumped me. The detective was stumped by the clue.
Unable to find an answer or solution. Baffled.
Agitated, annoyed, or excited, or emotionally charged. Various meanings.
Worked up. Yeah, context is everything. You can work up the courage, build it, work up an appetite, develop it, work up a sweat, physical exertion.
Yeah.
Or just be worked up, agitated.
Right. Need the surrounding words. Release stress or anger. let off pressure,
Blow off steam,
had a hard week, need to blow off steam this weekend, go for a run, see friends,
release pent-up tension or emotion, de-stress,
respond angrily or rudely, sharp retort.
to snap at someone.
Sorry I snapped at you, I'm just stressed. Kayla mentioned the interjection, oh, snap is different.
Yeah, that's more like wow or uh-oh. Snapping at someone is the irritable response.
Wow, okay, that was a lot. A
Snap.
huge dive into American idioms thanks to Kayla's video. We covered so much ground.
Absolutely. And, you know, getting a feel for these phrases, it's so valuable. It really helps you understand the nuances, connect with people.
Right, avoid those moments where you're just lost because someone used a phrase you didn't get.
Exactly. It just makes communication smoother, richer.
So your task now, listener, is just to listen out for these. Pay attention when you're watching shows, listening to music or podcasts, talking to people. You'll hear them.
You really will. They pop up everywhere.
Yeah,
And noticing them, understanding them, it makes everything make more sense.
definitely.
And here's something maybe to think about. How do these phrases reflect American culture? You know, like, take the bull by the horns suggests a certain value placed on direct action, maybe. Or dime a dozen reflects a consumer culture.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, learning idioms isn't just vocabulary. It's like a little window into the mindset, the history, the way people see things. It offers a kind of deeper cultural understanding beyond just the words. Welcome to the deep dive. So you sent us some really interesting material.
Yeah, and our job, like always, is to dig in and pull out the useful stuff for you.
Today, we're looking at a YouTube transcript. It's from the J Forest English channel called If You Know These 60 Idioms, Your English is Excellent.
And we're going to explore some of these idioms, not just what they mean, but, you know, how they actually work when people talk.
Right, why they help you sound more natural.
Exactly. Think of it as a shortcut to understanding and, well, using these phrases better.
And the original video used a quiz format, which sounds like a fun way they presented it.
Yeah, it does. So should we jump in?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, first up, thinking about like meeting new people. Break the ice.
Ah, yes. Break the ice. It's basically those things you say or do to cut through that initial awkwardness.
When you're meeting someone for the first time, maybe.
Exactly. And what's interesting is how, well, fixed it is. You can't really say broke ice or broken ice.
Right. The order matters.
Yeah.
But the tense changes, obviously. The transcript mentioned, we broke the ice.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. And the examples they gave, shaking hands, making a bit of small talk,
Showing you're actually interested in the other person.
those are all great ways to, you know, break the ice. It's about making things comfortable.
Setting a good tone, really.
Definitely.
Okay, next one. This is good for compliments. Knock it out of the park.
Oh yeah, love this one. It just means you did something incredibly well, like way beyond expectations.
Comes from baseball, right? Hitting a home run.
Exactly, that image of massive success. And what's kind of neat is you can say it different ways.
How so?
Well, you could say their presentation really knocked it out of the park, or they knocked the presentation out of the park. Both work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Flexible. The transcript even had the speaker hoping they knocked the lesson out of the park.
Yeah, bringing it back to themselves. It's all about exceeding expectations, doing an amazing job.
Makes sense. Okay, shifting gears to something less fun. Being between a rock and a hard place.
Oof. Yeah, that's when you're facing like two options and both of them are pretty bad.
Difficult choices, basically. No easy way out.
Exactly. The transcript gave that example of getting your dream job.
Oh, yeah, but means moving away from family. That's tough.
That's a perfect rock and a hard place situation. It also mentioned policymakers facing difficult economic choices.
So it's not just personal stuff. It could be bigger decisions, too.
Absolutely. Any situation where all the paths forward look, well, difficult. Makes you think, doesn't it?
Definitely had moments like that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk secrets and teasing now. First, spill the beans.
Right, spill the beans. This means revealing a secret, but the key thing is often it's accidental.
Oh, okay. Not usually on purpose.
Not typically, no.
Yeah,
It's like the information just slips out.
Yeah.
The transcript mentioned accidentally revealing an engagement.
Oh, okay. Or telling someone, don't worry, I won't spill the beans, meaning the secret's safe.
Exactly. The image is great, isn't it? Like beans spilling out of a container.
Yeah. Clumsy.
Yeah, vivid. Okay, then the playful one. Pulling your leg. This is just teasing, right? Joking around with someone, but in a friendly way.
Not trying to be mean or really deceive them long term.
No, it's lighthearted. The transcript had that little scenario with a coworker, remember?
Pretending they worked late.
Yeah, and then admitting, nah, just pulling your leg. It's that moment of temporary belief, then the reveal.
Classic office humor sometimes.
Totally. It often involves a little exaggeration that someone might just fall for.
Gotcha. And now for pure happiness on cloud nine.
Ah, yes. Just extremely happy, elated, like you're floating.
And the transcript made a good point. You need the verb to be. I am on cloud nine. They were on cloud nine.
Crucial grammar point there. And the examples were spot on getting those Taylor Swift tickets.
Yes. Or getting engaged, your team winning a big game.
All perfect cloud nine moments. The speaker even shared feeling that way after some win.
It's that peak feeling, isn't it? Just pure joy.
Absolutely. Can't beat it.
Okay, let's switch it up. Starting over. Start from scratch.
Right. Start from scratch means beginning right from the very start. Nothing to build on.
Often after something went wrong, maybe?
Yeah, like the transcript mentioned a computer crash wiping out your whole project.
Oh, the worst. Or deciding to learn a language you're starting from scratch then, too.
Exactly. It's that feeling of having zero foundation, needing to build it all again. The Macmillan example in the transcript, too, having to restart.
Right, back to square one. Can be frustrating, but sometimes necessary.
Very true. It's a clean slate, for better or worse.
Okay, next. Being the boss. Call the shots.
This one's pretty straightforward. It just means being in control, making the decisions.
The person in charge.
Yep. The transcript had simple examples like, in my house, I call the shots.
Or asking about a new team. Okay, so who calls the shots around here?
Exactly. But it also mentioned pharmaceutical companies calling the shots, which shows it applies to big power structures too.
Good point. So personal level, company level, industry level.
It works across the board. It's about who holds the power, who directs things. Makes you think, where do you call the shots?
Good question. Okay, now for a feeling of relief. Let someone off the hook.
Ah, yeah. This means releasing someone from, like, a responsibility or maybe a punishment they were expecting.
So they get out of something difficult.
Exactly. And they usually feel pretty relieved about it. The transcript's example was good offering to work late so your colleague doesn't have to.
Right, you're letting them off the hook for staying late.
Perfect example. And sometimes, as the transcript noted, there might be a condition, right?
Like, okay, I'll let you off the hook this time, but promise it won't happen again.
Precisely. So it's not always a totally free pass.
Interesting. Okay, let's tackle some idioms for tricky situations now. First, cry over spilled milk.
Such a classic. It means getting upset about something bad that's already happened and, crucially, can't be changed.
Like spilling milk. You can't unspill it.
Exactly. The transcript used losing a client because of a missed deadline. The advice is, don't dwell on it.
Right. Don't cry over spilled milk. Figure out what to do next instead.
It's practical advice, really. Focus energy on what you can fix, not what you can't.
Makes sense. Then there's bite the bullet. Sounds painful.
It kind of implies enduring something painful or unpleasant, yeah. But because you have to, it's necessary.
And the transcript reminded us the past tense is bit. He bit the bullet.
Good catch. Examples given were like, doing your taxes.
Nobody enjoys that. Or cleaning a really messy garage.
Necessary evils. But it also mentioned needing courage to tell the truth. That's biting an emotional bullet, you could say.
The origin may be soldiers literally biting a bullet during surgery. It conveys that stoic endurance.
Definitely. Bracing yourself and getting through something tough.
Okay, and lastly in this group, in hot water.
Simple enough means you're in trouble.
Facing consequences for something.
Yep. The transcript gave examples like forgetting your anniversary. Definitely hot water territory.
Yes. Or a company breaking safety rules and facing fines.
Both fit perfectly. You've done something wrong or something's gone wrong, and now there's trouble brewing. It feels like a very common everyday phrase.
It does. Okay, 2 more sections. First, avoiding the point and following trends. Let's start with beat around the bush.
Ah, yes. This is when someone avoids the main topic. They talk about other things instead of getting straight to the point.
Often because the topic is awkward or sensitive.
Exactly. Like asking for, raise the transcript, use that example. People might talk about workload, performance, everything, but asking for more money.
So the advice was just be direct.
Yeah, probably better in that case. It also mentions someone talking indirectly before finally asking for a date.
Circling the actual question.
It highlights that tension between being indirect and just saying what you need to say.
Got it. Okay, how about jump on the bandwagon? Sounds very current.
It does, yeah. It means starting to do something or support something just because it's suddenly popular or trendy.
Following the crowd, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. The transcript used learning pickleball as an example since it's so popular right now.
Makes sense. Or companies using influencers because that's the trend.
Or one type of movie becomes a hit and suddenly everyone's making similar ones. That's jumping on the bandwagon too.
So it can be individuals, companies, entire industries.
Yeah. And interestingly, the transcript mentions sometimes people jump on a bandwagon strategically, maybe trying to influence or reverse a trend, not always just mindless following.
Huh. Okay. And the last one in this part, a dime a dozen.
This means something is really, really common, easy to find, maybe inexpensive.
I mean, because it's so common, it's not seen as special or valuable.
Exactly. That's the key implication, often a bit negative. Like the pickleball teacher's example in the transcript, maybe they're becoming a dime a dozen because the sport is so popular.
Ah, so many of them around. It contrasts with the idea of talented singers in a competition needing to be unique to stand out.
Perfect contrast. If you're a dime a dozen, you don't stand out. The value diminishes with abundance. Like the investor saying ideas are common, execution is what matters.
Right. Good business point there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered quite a few idioms from that transcript.
We have. Just a selection. Remember, the original had 60.
Wow. So wrapping this up, what's the main takeaway for you, our listener, from all this?
Well, I think it's really about how understanding and actually using these idioms can seriously improve your English.
You sound more natural, right? Less like you're translating literally.
Exactly. You express ideas faster, you connect better with native speakers, you avoid those awkward misunderstandings. It's a huge boost.
And these were just, what, maybe 15 or so?
Yeah.
It shows how many of these expressions are woven into everyday English.
Absolutely. So it might be useful for you to think back which ones stood out, which ones surprised you.
Yeah, or which ones can you maybe start trying to use yourself?
That's a great point. And maybe a final thought to leave you with is, how could getting more comfortable with these common phrases change how confident you feel?
When speaking or just listening to English.
Yeah. In everyday chats, watching movies, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe exploring more idioms could actually be a pretty fun way to keep learning.
I think so too. It adds color to the language.
It really does. So thanks again for sharing the source material with us.
Yes. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Hope you found it helpful. Welcome to the deep dive. You know, sometimes the small things really shift how you communicate, right?
Absolutely.
And today we're diving into some of those English idioms. Think of it as like a way to level up quickly, sound a bit less textbooky.
Yeah, exactly. More natural. We're using a great source, a J Forest English video on YouTube that picked out 20 really common ones.
Right.
And our goal isn't just to list them, but kind of unpack how and why they're used, get a feel for them.
Perfect. And just quickly, for anyone new to this, idioms are those phrases where the words together mean something totally different from the individual words. They add, like, flavor.
That's a good way to put it, flavor.
Okay, let's jump in. First one, break a leg.
Ah, yes. Break a leg. It just means good luck. Simple as that.
Good luck. But it sounds so negative.
It does, doesn't it? But you hear it all the time. Before a performance, an exam, a big presentation.
Job interviews, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Job interviews. It's got roots in theater, apparently. Some superstitious thing, maybe, like saying the opposite of what you want.
Huh. Interesting. So instead of just good luck, you'd say, you're going to kill that presentation, break a leg.
Exactly. Or as the video kind of joked, you could just say it over and over, break a leg, gets the point across.
Yeah, okay. Next, spill the beans.
Right, spill the beans. This one means to reveal a secret, usually by accident.
Like, oops, the secret's out.
Yeah, kind of picture dropping a pot of beans, you know?
Yeah.
Secret scattering everywhere. So if you accidentally tell Dave about his surprise party,
Uh-oh.
you've spilled the beans.
Got it. You might say, kind of annoyed, but maybe laughing, I can't believe you spilled the beans about the party.
Exactly.
So it takes the pressure off saying it like that. Okay, listener, question for you. Can we trust you with a secret now? Moving on.
Let's talk about sleep. Hit the hay or hit the sack.
Ah, okay. Going to bed.
Yep, exactly the same meaning. Go to bed, go to sleep. They're kind of charmingly old-fashioned, I think.
They do paint a picture, don't they? Like literally hitting a sack of hay.
Right, so if you've got an early start, you'd say, okay, folks, early meeting tomorrow, I'm going to hit the hay.
Much more interesting than just I'm going to bed.
Totally. And yeah, hit the hay, hit the sack. Completely interchangeable. Use whichever one you like.
All right, next up. bite the bullet. Sounds painful.
It implies something difficult, yeah. Bite the bullet means facing a tough or unpleasant situation with courage, just getting on with it.
Why a bullet, though?
Well, the image is supposedly from way back before good anesthesia.
Yeah.
Giving soldiers a bullet to bite down on during surgery. Grim, I know.
Yikes. Okay, that makes the meaning clear. So if you messed up at work, you'd have to bite the bullet and go tell your boss, even if you're dreading it.
Exactly. You might say, ugh, I gotta bite the bullet and confess.
Okay, it makes sense. Let's hope we don't need that one too often.
Yeah.
How about something more positive?
Definitely. Hit the jackpot.
Now that sounds better.
Right. It means having some big success or gain, often kind of lucky or unexpected, like pulling the lever on a slot machine and
Yeah. Or like your small company finally lands that huge, amazing client.
Perfect example. That would feel like hitting the jackpot, a massive win.
Cool. Okay, number 6 is catch someone's eye.
This one's pretty straightforward. It just means attracting someone's attention, getting noticed. Something stands out.
Like her amazing presentation caught the CEO's eye.
Exactly. It implies the CEO really noticed and was impressed, and the video points out the grammar CEO's singular possessive.
Right, and then his great resume caught the hiring manager's eye. Managers, plural, so the apostrophe is after the es.
Correct. But the idiom itself always uses the singular I, which is interesting.
Yeah, catch someone's eye. You also hear it like, if someone's offering you choices, just pick whatever catches your eye.
Oh, okay. Skipping number 7, like the video did, promotional break there. Number 8 is hit the nail on the head.
Ooh, I like this one. It feels very precise.
It is. It means you've described something, like a problem or a situation, absolutely perfectly. You've identified the exact point, like hitting a nail cleanly with a hammer.
Right on target. So you could praise someone. Wow, you really hit the nail on the head with that analysis.
Or your explanation totally hit the nail on the head. Same meaning, just spot on.
Love it. Okay, number 9. Burn bridges. Sounds destructive.
It is. It means damaging a relationship or ruining future opportunities, usually when you're leaving a situation.
Like quitting a job really badly.
Exactly. Or ending a friendship with a huge fight. You're burning the bridge behind you so you can't go back.
And the video stressed not doing this professionally, right?
Absolutely burn that bridge. Forget about getting a good reference.
Yeah.
And who knows? You might need that contact again someday. Bad idea to burn bridges at work.
Definitely good advice. Okay, what about jump on the bandwagon?
The bandwagon effect. This means starting to do something or adopt an opinion just because it's popular or trendy, not necessarily because you genuinely believe in it.
Like everyone suddenly wearing the same type of shoes?
Kind of like that, yeah. The video used YouTube Shorts as an example. The creator didn't make them for ages. But then they got super popular, so they decided to jump on the bandwagon.
And they even used another idiom, saying they wish they'd bit the bullet sooner.
Yeah, a nice little callback. It shows how we sometimes follow the crowd.
Okay, number 11. Be in the same boat.
This is a nice one for solidarity. It means you're facing the same difficulties or challenges as someone else. Shared struggle.
Like if two friends are both super nervous about giving a speech.
Exactly. You could say, yeah, they're both really dreading public speaking. They're in the same boat. It shows they're not alone in it.
That's comforting, actually. All right, next. Spick and span. Sounds shiny.
It means very neat, tidy, and clean. Spotless, basically.
Where does that come from, the spick ban?
The origin's a bit fuzzy, apparently, but the feeling is definitely perfectly clean and orderly.
So you can say, I like to keep my desk spick and span.
Totally. Or your whole house. She keeps her apartment spick and span. Suggests real tidiness.
Nice. Okay, shifting gears. Cost an arm and a leg. Sounds expensive.
It means very expensive, extremely pricey. The phrase really emphasizes the high cost through, exaggeration.
Or purpley, yeah. Like when your car needs a major repair.
Oh, absolutely. You'd look at the estimate and say, oof, this is going to cost an arm and a leg?
The video mentioned AC units too. They can definitely cost an arm and a leg.
For sure. Especially when they break in July.
Okay, and right after that, number 14 is cost a pretty penny.
Yeah, interestingly, this means exactly the same thing. Very expensive.
Just less graphic.
Pretty much. Slightly softer, maybe. But the meaning is identical. You could say about that car repair, it's going to cost a pretty penny.
So interchangeable with cost an arm and a leg. Good to know.
Yep. Now, let's go completely the other way. Dirt cheap.
The opposite.
Yeah.
So really inexpensive.
Exactly. Extremely cheap. So cheap, it's like dirt, which is, everywhere and costs nothing.
Okay. So you see your friend with a fancy-looking bag, you think, wow, that must cost an arm and a leg.
Or a pretty penny.
Right. And they say, got it at a market. It was dirt cheap.
That's the one. The dream bargain.
Which leads perfectly into number 16, a knockoff.
Exactly. If that bag was dirt cheap, it probably wasn't the real designer deal. It was likely a knockoff.
So a copy or imitation?
Yeah. Usually of a famous brand, sold much cheaper. The video warned about this with things like expensive watches. Got to make sure it's not a knockoff.
Good point. Okay, 17, hit the road.
Very common one. Means to start a journey or simply to leave a place.
So packing the car for a trip, you might say, okay, all set, let's hit the road.
Perfect. Or if you're leaving a party, well, it's getting late. Guess we should hit the road. Time to go.
Simple enough? 18, break a sweat.
Literally, it means to physically exert yourself so much you start sweating.
Like during a workout.
Right. Running hard, lifting weights, you'll break a sweat.
But it has another meaning, too.
Yeah, it can also mean just working really hard on anything. Not necessarily physical, but often, like the video said, you hear it used negatively.
How so?
Like if a task was super easy, you might say, PFT, that was nothing. I didn't even break a sweat, meaning it required almost no effort.
Okay. Got it. 19. Be under the weather.
This is a really common, gentle way to say you're feeling sick, not seriously ill, just a bit off.
Like you wouldn't call into work saying, I have a plague.
Probably not. You'd more likely send a message saying, gonna work from home today, feeling a bit under the weather. It's polite and gets the point across.
Okay, makes sense. And finally, number 20, call it a day.
Yep, the perfect one to end on. It just means to decide to stop working on something, usually for the rest of that day.
Like, okay, I'm tired, I've done enough, let's call it a day.
Exactly, and the video used it nicely. This is the 20th idiom, so let's call it a day. Time to wrap up.
And it works even if it's nighttime, right? Though you could also say call it a night.
Yeah, call it a day is pretty flexible.
Cool. So that's 20 idioms. Wow. You can really see how knowing these would make conversations flow better, sound more native.
Definitely. It adds that layer of nuance. And like the video said, this is really just scratching the surface. There are tons more.
Hundreds. Which, makes you think, how much does understanding these little cultural shortcuts actually change how we connect with people?
It's a great point. The source video even asked people to comment more idioms if they wanted another batch. That's a good way for you listening to maybe signal what else you're curious about.
Yeah. And the video mentioned other helpful stuff too, right? Subscribing, liking, and a free speaking guide.
That's right, a free guide, which, definitely doesn't cost an arm and a leg.
It's dirt cheap, in fact. It's free.
Exactly. And they also suggested watching another lesson on phrasal verbs.
Which makes sense. Phrasal verbs are another one of those tricky but essential parts of everyday English. Kind of a natural next step.
It all builds up, doesn't it? Understanding these idioms, phrasal verbs.
Yeah.
It's more than just words.
It really is. Which leaves us with a final thought for you to chew on. How might really getting comfortable with these kinds of subtle, maybe culturally specific expressions actually deepen not just your language skills, but maybe your connection with English speakers and the cultures behind the language? Something to think about. You know that feeling? You're listening to native English speakers, and it just sounds fast. Like really fast.
Oh, yeah. Like they're speaking a completely different language sometimes, even though you know the words.
Exactly. And you're trying to grab the main points, but you feel like you're missing all the little things, the sounds they skip, the phrases that weren't in the textbook.
It's a really common hurdle. It's that gap between classroom English and how people actually talk.
Right. So that's what we're diving into today. We want to sort of bridge that gap.
We're looking at those nuances, how pronunciation shifts, those idioms that pop up everywhere, and, some more advanced ways people express themselves.
And we're using a great YouTube lesson as our guide. It's from J. Forrest English, and it's called 1 Hour Lesson: How to Speak Fast and Understand Natives Practice English Listening.
Yeah, it's a good one because it hits these specific challenges head on, understanding that quick, natural speech.
So our mission really is to give you some practical insights, things you can actually use.
So you feel more confident listening and maybe even start sounding a bit more natural yourself when you speak.
Exactly. Okay, let's get into it. First up, how pronunciation changes when people speak fast.
Right. Because when we talk quickly, our mouths, well, they take shortcuts. It's just more efficient.
Makes sense.
And the source gave some really good examples. Let's start with should have.
Ah, yes. Should have. You almost never hear it like that, do you? It's more like
Shoulda.
shoulda. Yeah, that L sound just vanishes. The example was, we should have had a backup plan.
We should have had a backup plan. And that term, backup plan, is useful in itself.
Right. It's just your plan B, basically.
Exactly. An alternative if the first plan fails. Like you're giving a presentation, your computer is plan A.
But you've got it on a USB stick just in case. That's the backup.
Precisely. And this change, should have to shoulda, it's a perfect example of how unstressed sounds get reduced or just dropped entirely in fast speech. Makes it flow.
It really does. It's all about ease, isn't it? Another thing is linking sounds between words, like back up.
Yeah, good one. Instead of a clear stop back up, that final K sound just sort of attaches itself to up.
So it becomes back up, one smooth sound.
Exactly. Smoother transitions. That's the key.
Okay, what about past tense, that aid ending, like in the word pissed?
Right. We learn it as a D or T, but often, like with pissed, it's a very soft T. Almost disappears sometimes.
Especially in a sentence, right? The example was, her comment really pissed me off.
Pissed me off. You might barely hear that final T sound. You really have to rely on the context to know it's past tense.
Definitely. Context is everything. And pissed off itself.
That's an interesting one.
It is. It means really angry, but it's very informal.
Like you wouldn't say it to your boss necessarily?
Probably not. You might tell a friend, ugh, my boss really pissed me off. But saying it to someone you're angry with, or in a formal setting, yeah, probably avoid it. It can sound rude. Good distinction. Context for grammar, context for politeness too. Okay, another shift. A little.
Yeah. That T in the middle between vowels, it often softens to sound like a D.
So a little.
A little, or sometimes it vanishes completely, like a little.
A little. Like in the example, he looked a little frazzled.
He looked a little frazzled.
Fine.
Exactly. It's that ease of articulation again. And frazzled. Great word.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it?
It does. Tired, worried, anxious. Maybe their hair's messy, they look stressed. That's frazzled.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Okay, one more pronunciation thing the lesson highlighted. Linking with a Z sound.
Right. This is subtle, but happens all the time. A word ends in S, like his, and the next word starts with a vowel.
Like his email.
That S sound often gets voiced, it vibrates, so it sounds more like a Z.
So his email sounds like Heismail.
Pretty much, or maybe closer to Zmail if it's really fast. Heismail came late. It just connects the words smoothly.
Wow. Okay, these little shifts make a huge difference in understanding. Let's switch gears a bit. Advanced expressions, idioms, phrasal verbs. These can be real roadblocks.
For sure, because the meaning isn't obvious just from the words. Our source had a great list. First one, take what she says with a grain of salt.
I like this idiom. It means basically don't just automatically believe everything someone tells you, right?
Exactly, because maybe they're unreliable or they exaggerate. The example was about Gina, who promises to help but often flakes out.
So you listen, but you take it with a grain of salt. You're cautious.
And the lesson noted it's often used as a command, an imperative. Take it with a grain of salt. It's advice.
Got it. Next, it's high time. This one feels like something needs to happen now.
Yeah, it carries that sense of urgency. It means something should happen, and maybe it's already overdue. The example was, it's high time we let her go.
And let her go here doesn't mean release her from captivity.
Oh no, it's a politer, more indirect way of saying fire someone and their employment.
So, it's high time we let her go means she should have been fired already, probably.
That's the implication, yeah.
Okay, how about nitpick?
Nitpick. To focus on tiny, unimportant flaws or details and complain about them.
Like the example. The restaurant meal is great, the service is great, but Lindsay is complaining about the plate color.
Exactly. That's nitpicking, finding fault with insignificant things. And the source mentioned using like crazy with it.
My mom nitpicks like crazy, meaning a lot.
Yeah, like crazy is just an informal way to say a lot or very much. And the person who does this is a nitpicker.
Okay, so how is that different from be picky? They sound similar.
Similar but different. Picky just means you have strong preferences. You like certain things and not others. It's not necessarily finding fault.
So kids can be picky eaters. They just don't like broccoli. They're not saying the broccoli is flawed.
Exactly. Or you might be picky about choosing a job or a house. You have specific requirements. That's different from nitpicking the tiny details of something you've already chosen.
Right. And the lesson mentioned how to be often sounds like Kobe.
Yeah, the unstressed too often gets reduced. He seems to be picky.
Okay. Now for something we all want to do sometimes. Call it a day.
Yes. Means stop working. You've done enough, or you're just too tired to continue.
Like the example, you've been working like crazy all week.
And finally you say, okay, let's call it a day. Time to stop.
Next, be nosy.
Nosy. Yeah, that means being too interested in other people's private lives, things that aren't your business.
Like checking your partner's phone without permission.
That's a classic example of being nosy, and that led into talking about pet peeves.
Ah, pet peeves. Those little things that just really annoy you personally.
Right. The source mentioned the top 3 from a Google search. Loud chewing,
Ugh, yes.
bad manners, and clutter. Pretty common ones.
Definitely relatable. Okay, what about when things get slightly chaotic? A little out of hand?
Yeah, out of hand means becoming difficult to control, unmanageable.
Like a party getting too loud, or maybe someone's spending habits.
Exactly. Things are escalating past what's normal or acceptable. That's getting out of hand.
Got it. How about being surprised? Catch someone off guard.
Means to surprise someone, usually with unexpected news or actions. They weren't prepared for it.
Like getting unexpected email, or the contents of the email being a shock.
Right. And you often hear it in the passive, I was caught off guard, meaning I was the one surprised.
Okay. Now, a more positive one. Stick up for someone.
This means to defend or support someone, especially if they're being criticized or attacked.
Like the example of people in the YouTube comments sticking up for the host.
Exactly. Defending them. It's a nice thing to do.
Then there's sticking to something. Different meaning.
Right. Sticking to something means continuing with it, especially if it's difficult, like sticking to a diet.
And the source clarified diet. It can mean a specific eating plan, like for weight loss.
Or just the food someone normally eats.
Yeah.
And go on a diet means starting that specific plan.
So sticking to the diet is about discipline. And related to that is stick it out.
Yeah, stick it out means continuing something until the end, persevering even when it's tough.
Like finishing that 90-day diet plan, even when you're tempted to quit, you decide to stick it out.
Exactly. See it through.
Okay, how about all set? Simple one.
Very common. Just means ready or prepared.
Are you all set for the meeting? Or you all set to go?
Right. And often, like you just did, people drop the R. Just you all set. Very natural.
Now, if things are not set, maybe disorganized, all over the map.
Yeah, if something is all over the map, it lacks focus, it's disorganized, maybe confusing.
Like a report that jumps between topics or advice from a consultant that seems scattered.
Exactly. No clear direction.
What about watching carefully? Keep your eyes peeled.
Love that image. It means watch very carefully. Be alert. Be on the lookout for something specific.
Like looking for street signs when you're driving or proofreading for errors. Keep your eyes peeled.
And it's usually used as a command, telling someone to watch out.
Okay. Estimating costs.
Ballpark. Right. As a verb, to ballpark means to give a rough estimate. Or you can ask for a ballpark figure, which is the estimate itself.
Like the consultant giving a $3 to $5 million ballpark figure. It's not exact, but it gives you an idea.
Exactly. It's in the right area, the right ballpark.
And thinking about the future, but vaguely, down the line.
Down the line or down the road means sometime in the future, but unspecified when.
Like, we'll deal with that down the line. We're thinking about the consequences of not improving your English down the line.
Right. A future point, but not fixed.
Now, the lesson mentioned a tricky phrase to say. Have you edited it yet?
Oh, yeah. That double it sound close together. Edited it. It's a bit of a tongue twister.
Edited it yet. It can blur together.
It really can. It's present perfect with yet, asking about completion. But the source rightly suggested, maybe rephrasing for clarity, like, have you edited the report yet? Much easier.
Definitely. Okay, what about having the right qualities for something? Have what it takes.
This means having the necessary skills, character, determination, whatever is needed to succeed.
Like, you could say someone has what it takes to be a great leader, or that listeners have what it takes to become fluent in English.
Absolutely. It implies ability and potential. The lesson also mentioned move up in a career context.
Right, getting a promotion. You need to have what it takes to move up.
Makes sense. Now, when you've finished all your pending work, all caught up.
All caught up means you're up to date, no backlog.
Right. The all means 100% completely. Like you've answered all your emails, you're all caught up.
Okay. Need a quick moment of someone's time. Have a sec.
Short for have a second. Very common, informal way to ask for a brief moment before you ask a question or start talking.
Hey, have a sec. I need to ask you something.
Exactly. Much quicker than, do you have a moment?
And updating someone. Bring someone up to speed.
Means giving someone the latest information or news about something they missed.
Like if you come back from vacation, you ask your colleague, can you bring me up to speed on the conference?
Perfect example. Getting them current.
And one last common one.
Go out. Simple, but essential. Means doing a social activity outside your home. Dinner, drinks, movie, whatever.
Are you going out tonight? Very common question.
Definitely. Okay, so, wow, we covered a lot there.
We really did. From those sneaky pronunciation shifts.
Like shoulda and little.
To a whole bunch of really useful idioms and phrasal verbs. Grain of salt, nitpick, stick it out.
Things native speakers use constantly without even thinking about it.
Exactly. And understanding these is just crucial for really getting what people mean, right?
Absolutely. It's about listening actively for those sound changes, knowing the meanings of these phrases, and paying attention to the context. That's how you improve comprehension and sound more natural, too.
So here's something to think about, maybe a little challenge for you listening. Next time you watch a movie or listen to a conversation in English.
Really listen. Try to catch these things. Notice the shouldas. Hear the linked sounds.
Yeah. Spot the idioms. How often do you hear someone say, call it a day, or down the line, or bring someone up to speed?
Just becoming aware of them, actively identifying them when you hear them, that's a huge step.
It really trains your ear. And it makes that fast, natural English feel, well, less intimidating, more understandable.
Definitely. You start to see the patterns. It makes it much less like a secret code.
Absolutely. You really do have what it takes to get the hang of this. Just keep listening, keep noticing.
Your understanding and your confidence, they'll definitely grow. Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Today, we are diving into something that I think is pretty fundamental, and I'm sure you'll agree with me on this one. Verbs, but not just verbs in general.
Yeah.
We are talking about 21 powerful verbs that you can use to really kind of take your daily English conversations to another level.
Absolutely. And we have a great resource for this. It's a script specifically for advanced learners called 21 Powerful Verbs You Should Know for Daily English Conversations.
I like it. Straight to the point.
Yeah.
So let's unpack this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Why verbs? I mean, I think we all know that verbs are important in any language.
Right. Yeah.
But our source really emphasizes this point that strong verbs, strong communication. And they give a really good example. They talk about saying, I did a mistake. Now, that doesn't sound quite right, does it?
No, not really.
The correct way to say that would be, I made a mistake.
Right.
But then they take it even further. They say, I committed a serious mistake. And that has a much more
Formal tone?
Formal tone, exactly.
Right.
So you can see how the choice of verb really can change the impact and the nuance of what you're trying to say.
And what's really interesting about these verbs, this set of verbs we're looking at, is that they are very versatile, very powerful, and they can be used in all sorts of situations. They are used in everyday English. You know, these aren't obscure verbs that you'll only find in a very specific context. These are verbs that you can use when you're talking to your friends, when you're in a meeting at work, when you're writing an email. So very, very versatile, very useful.
And what we're going to do today to help make this information really stick is we're going to group these 21 verbs by theme.
Okay.
So we'll start with verbs for daily actions, those everyday things that we do. Then we'll move on to verbs that are really key for communication, you know, getting your message across, expressing yourself clearly. And then we'll finish up with verbs that are related to our emotions and our thoughts.
Okay. I like it.
So by the end of this deep dive, you should not only have a good understanding of the meanings of these verbs, but also, and I think this is really the key takeaway, feel more confident in using them. And the benefit of that is you'll be able to speak with more precision, express your thoughts and ideas more clearly, and really just sound more fluent and natural in your English.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's dive into our first category, verbs for daily life. What's the first verb that comes up in our source material?
So the first one that they highlight is grab. And this is a very common verb in everyday English. It basically means to take or get something quickly.
Grab. So like, let's grab some coffee.
Yeah.
Very casual, very informal. And you can grab lunch.
Yeah, grab a seat, grab a moment.
Yeah, you grab a seat, you grab a moment, you grab a beer, all these, quick actions.
Yeah.
And I think the interesting thing about grab is that it implies a kind of swiftness, like an ease of action. You wouldn't say, I don't know, like I grabbed the heavy suitcase, right? You would probably say I took the suitcase or I picked up the suitcase.
Right.
It has to have that kind of that ease about it, that effortlessness about it.
Right.
Okay, what's the next one?
Okay, so the next verb is head. And this simply means to go somewhere.
So I'm heading to work now.
Exactly.
Right.
So very straightforward.
So instead of saying I'm going to work now, you would say I'm heading to work.
Right.
Is there a subtle difference there? Like heading implies maybe a more definite direction or something?
Yeah, I think heading to suggests a more direct route or a more purposeful movement.
Purposeful. Okay.
Yeah, you might go to the store, maybe just wandering around.
Yeah.
But if you're heading to the store, you probably have a specific reason to go there.
Gotcha.
And the source also mentions some related forms like head back, so to return to a place, and head out, which means to leave.
Okay, so that's head. That makes sense. What's the next one?
The next one is run into, which means to meet someone by accident.
Like, I ran into Sarah at the grocery store.
Exactly.
And it has that element of surprise, like you weren't expecting to see her.
Right. And it emphasizes that it was an unplanned meeting.
Unscheduled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, that's interesting because run into can also mean, hitting something. Like, I ran into a problem.
Exactly.
And so how do you know, like when you're reading a sentence, how do you know which meaning of run into is being used?
Well, it usually depends on the context.
Yeah.
If the object of the verb is a person, then it almost always means to meet someone accidentally.
Okay.
But if the object is a problem or a difficulty or even a wall,
Right.
then it usually means to collide with something.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's run into.
Right.
Now what's next?
Okay. The next one is drop by. And this means to visit someone quickly and informally.
I might drop by your place later.
Exactly. So again, very casual, very brief visit.
Just stopping in. Yeah. And it's interesting because you can also use it in a work context. Like, can I drop by your office later? It doesn't have to be like, can I schedule a meeting with you?
Exactly.
Can I drop by?
Yeah. It's much more informal.
Yeah. Informal. Quick. I like it.
Okay. So the next one is turn out, which means to happen in a particular way or to have a particular result.
The movie turned out to be better than I expected.
Exactly. So it's about the outcome of something.
The result. Yeah, it's like the end, the ending, the final state of something.
Exactly.
Okay. Makes sense. What's next?
Okay, so the next verb is figure out. And this means to understand or solve something.
I finally figured out how to use the new app.
Exactly.
It's like that aha moment, right? Like, I finally got it.
Right. Yeah, it often implies that there was some effort involved, some thinking involved.
Yeah, a little bit of problem solving.
Right.
I like it. Okay. What is the last one in this daily life category?
Okay, so the last one is catch up, which means to talk to someone you haven't seen in a while.
Let's catch up soon.
Exactly.
So it's like, reconnecting with someone, finding out what they've been up to.
Right.
Now, you can also use it in a work context as well. Like, I need to catch up on my emails.
Right.
That means you've got, a backlog of emails. You've got to kind of get through them.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's about like, bridging that gap.
Right.
Whether it's with a person or with your work. Okay, so those are 7 really practical verbs for daily life. Now, let's move on to our next category, which is communication verbs.
Okay, so these are verbs that'll help you to be more effective, more persuasive when you're communicating with others.
All right.
The first one on the list is bring up, which means to mention a topic.
She brought up a really interesting point in the meeting.
Exactly. So it's about introducing a new subject into a conversation.
Yeah. Like a new idea, a new question, maybe a concern.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. What's next?
Okay. The next one is point out, which means to show or highlight something.
Can I point something out?
Exactly. And this is often used to draw attention to a specific detail, perhaps an error in a document or something positive that you noticed.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to point out that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. What's next?
Okay. The next one is get across, which means to make someone understand something.
Oh, this is a good one. I'm having trouble getting my point across.
Exactly.
You're trying to explain something, but the other person just doesn't seem to get it.
Right.
I feel like I experience this a lot, especially when I'm trying to explain technical things or abstract ideas.
Me too. It can be really frustrating when you just can't seem to get your message across.
Totally.
No.
So how do you usually deal with those situations?
Well, sometimes I try to rephrase things or use simpler language.
Right.
Sometimes I give examples or use visuals to try to clarify things.
Yeah, I think examples are super helpful.
Definitely. Okay, so the next verb on the list is go over, which means to review or explain something again.
Let's go over the plan one more time just to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly.
So this is really important for clarity, for making sure that everyone understands.
Definitely. It's important to avoid misunderstanding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, what's next?
Okay. So the next verb is cut off, which means to interrupt someone while they're speaking.
Oh, this is a tough one, right? Because you never want to interrupt someone?
Right. Like it can be considered rude.
Yeah, but sometimes it's necessary, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes you have to interject.
And it can also be used in the context of a phone call, like the call got cut off.
Exactly. That means the connection was lost.
Yeah, okay, that's cut off.
Right.
What's next?
Okay, the next verb is bring in, which means to introduce or include someone in a discussion or an activity.
Let's bring in John for marketing. He might have some valuable insights on this project.
Exactly. So it's about expanding the circle of involvement.
Yeah, like adding another voice, another perspective.
Right.
I like it. Okay, and what is the last one in this category? Okay, so the last verb in the communication category is follow up.
I'll follow up with an email tomorrow with more details.
Exactly.
So it's about, checking back later, making sure that things are moving forward.
Right.
Yeah. Whether it's confirming a decision, providing more information, or just, keeping the lines of communication open.
Exactly. It's important to stay connected.
Okay, so those are 7 key verbs for effective communication.
Right.
Now, let's move on to our final category, which is verbs for emotions and thoughts.
Okay. So these are verbs that will help you to express your inner world, your feelings, and your ideas more effectively.
Wonderful. What is the first one?
So the first one is look forward to, which means to feel excited about something that's going to happen in the future.
I'm really looking forward to the weekend.
Exactly. It's a very positive verb.
Yeah.
It expresses anticipation and excitement.
I'm looking forward to our next deep dive.
Me too. It's always a lot of fun.
It is. Okay, what's next?
Okay, so the next verb is make up, which has 2 different meanings.
2 different meanings.
One meaning is to invent something, like a story or an excuse.
So he made up an excuse for being late?
Exactly.
Okay. And what's the other meaning?
The other meaning is to forgive someone and become friends with them again after an argument.
Oh, okay. So they made up after their fight.
Exactly.
So context is really important here.
Definitely. The meaning is usually clear from the context.
Yeah. You don't want to get those 2 mixed up.
Right. Okay. So the next verb on the list is come up with. And this means to think of an idea or a solution.
We need to come up with a new marketing strategy.
Exactly. It's about generating ideas, finding solutions.
I like it. Okay. What's next?
Okay. So the next one is run out of, which means to have no more of something.
We've run out of coffee. I need to go to the store.
Exactly. A very common situation.
It happens. And you can run out of time. You can run out of money.
Right.
You can run out of patience, I guess.
Exactly.
What's next?
Okay. The next verb is mess up, which means to make a mistake or do something wrong.
I really messed up that presentation.
Right. It's a very honest verb.
Yeah, it's about acknowledging a mistake or a failure.
Exactly. And we all mess up sometimes. It's part of being human.
Absolutely. Okay, what's next?
Okay, so the next verb is hold on, which simply means to wait.
Hold on a second. I need to check my calendar.
Exactly. It's a very useful verb in everyday conversations.
Yeah, it's just a way of saying just a moment.
Exactly.
Okay, and what is the final verb in this category?
Okay, so the final verb is turn down, which means to refuse an offer or request.
He turned down the job offer because he wasn't happy with the salary.
Exactly. It's about declining something that's been offered to you.
Yeah. Okay, so that was a lot of verbs, but hopefully by grouping them by theme like this, it'll be easier for you to remember and use them.
Right. And our source actually has a little mini quiz that you can use to test your understanding of these verbs.
Oh, that's a great idea. Let's go through the quiz together.
Okay, so the first question is, I didn't get any ideas.
I didn't. I don't come up with any ideas.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, number 2. Can we our notes before the test?
Can we go over our notes before the test?
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, number 3. I need to with an old friend.
I need to catch up with an old friend.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay, number 4. She turned down the invitation to the wedding.
She turned down the invitation to the wedding.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the last one.
The last one. His excuse, it wasn't true.
He made up his excuse. It wasn't true.
Exactly. You got them all right.
All right. I aced it.
Well done.
I'm ready to go out there and use all these verbs now.
Yeah.
So just to recap, we've covered 21 powerful verbs that can really enhance your English communication.
Yeah.
And they're not obscure verbs. They're not overly formal verbs. They're verbs that you can use every day in all sorts of situations.
Right.
So our challenge to you, the listener, is to try to use at least 5 of these verbs this week in your real conversations or in your writing. Exactly. And pay attention to how using these verbs affects your communication.
Right. Do you feel more confident? Do you feel like you're expressing yourself more clearly and effectively?
Yeah, and think about the subtle differences in meaning that these verbs can convey.
Exactly. And we really encourage you to keep exploring the world of English vocabulary. There's so much to learn, and it's a really rewarding journey. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time. Okay, welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to be tackling something that's like absolutely crucial if you want to speak English fluently.
It really is.
We're diving into 21 essential verbs.
Right.
The ones you hear, like all the time, everywhere, and that you need to use yourself
Yeah.
to, sound natural when you're speaking. And this is not about like obscure vocab.
It's not.
This is like the building blocks of everyday conversations.
That's right. Think of this as like getting a solid grip on the engine room of the English language.
Yeah.
For you, the listener, our aim today is really, really simple, but it's powerful. We want to give you a real understanding of these 21 verbs so you can express yourself clearly, you can be confident, and you can just use English naturally in all sorts of daily situations.
Absolutely. Whether you're watching a movie, whether you're chatting with friends, whether you're in a work meeting, like mastering these verbs, I think it's really going to make a noticeable difference.
It will.
It might seem basic, but I think these seemingly simple words are incredibly powerful. They're really going to boost your ability to communicate well and also to understand native speakers better.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get into it. Why are verbs so crucial?
Well, let's start with the big picture.
Yeah.
Verbs are crucial because they're the action words, right?
They are.
They describe what we do, how we feel, what we think. They really drive the sentence. They provide that essential information about what is happening.
Right. If nouns are like the who and the what,
Yeah,
verbs are the action.
they are.
And choosing the right verb is key.
It really is.
It's the difference between being vague and being precise. And that leads to clearer, more natural English that's easier for everyone to understand.
Exactly. And that's precisely why we're focusing on these 21 verbs, because they form a fundamental layer for day-to-day communication. And by becoming really comfortable with them, you'll find that your spoken English sounds much more natural across a wide range of common scenarios.
Right. Okay. So let's dive into our first set. These are 7 verbs that pop up all the time in everyday life. So first up is get. Now this little word packs a punch. It has a few different meanings, doesn't it?
It really does. Get is incredibly versatile.
Yeah.
It can mean to receive, like I got a new phone yesterday.
Right.
It can also mean to become, as in he's getting tired.
Yeah.
And it can even mean to bring, although we haven't actually included an example of that specific use here. But
Okay.
what's really fascinating about get is just how frequently it's used in spoken English,
Right.
often in place of more formal alternatives.
So I guess more naturally?
It is.
Yeah.
And beyond these core meanings, get is a real workhorse in what we call phrasal verbs. So
Oh, yeah.
think about how often we say get up instead of arise or get over an illness rather than recover.
Mm-hmm.
Mastering those combinations is really key to sounding natural.
That's such a good point
Yeah.
about phrasal verbs. You hear those all the time.
You do.
Okay. So next is go, which is, I guess, pretty straightforward. It means to move or travel.
Yeah.
For example, I go to work at 8 a.m. or let's go to the park.
Yeah.
So not too many like hidden complexities there.
Generally, no. Go is that really fundamental verb for expressing movement from one place to another. It's very direct. It's to the point.
Right. Then we have come. And the crucial thing here is like the direction, right? It means
Yeah.
to move toward you.
Yeah.
So examples like come here or my friend is coming to the party. It's all about like the perspective of the speaker or the listener.
It is, exactly. The directionality relative to the speaker or listener is that key difference between come and go.
Right. Okay. Our next verb is take, meaning to grab, carry, or use.
Yeah.
We have examples like take your umbrella, it's raining, or I took a photo of the sunset.
Yeah.
It seems like another really common and adaptable verb.
It is. Take covers a range of actions involving interaction with an object, whether it's physically holding it or moving it or using it for a specific purpose.
Right. Okay. Moving on, we have make, meaning to create or prepare. So examples are, she made a cake, and don't make excuses.
Yeah.
I like how that second example shows make in a more abstract sense.
It does.
Not just like physical creation.
Yeah, that's an important observation. While make often relates to physically creating something tangible, it also applies to forming decisions, making plans, or even, as in your example, making excuses.
Yeah.
It really highlights its versatility beyond just the physical realm.
Right. Okay, next is do, described as a general action verb.
Yeah.
And we have, I do yoga every day, and what do you do for work? This one feels like the go-to when you just can't think of a more specific action.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Do is often used when the specific action itself isn't as important as the fact that an action is being performed at all.
Yeah, okay.
And it also plays a crucial role, and what we call an auxiliary verb, in forming questions and negative statements.
Right.
Like, what do you do? Or, and as we'll see later, I don't like.
Right.
Oh.
Okay, and finally for this set, we have, meaning to own or experience.
Yeah.
Examples are, I have 2 sisters and we're having dinner now.
Yeah.
So it covers both possession and being in the middle of an activity.
Exactly. Have is another incredibly common, very flexible verb. It can denote ownership, relationships, experiences, and even forms part of those compound verbs like have to or have been.
Yeah, okay. So we've covered get, go, come, take, make, do, and have.
Yeah.
So quite a lot. Now let's shift our focus to verbs that we use specifically when we're talking to with other people.
Okay. This is a really important category, as so much of our daily life involves communication.
Absolutely.
So the first verb here is say, which simply means to speak words.
Right.
So we have, he said hello to me, and what did you say? It's a very direct way to report spoken words.
Right. Pretty straightforward. It's just about uttering something.
Yeah.
And then we have tell, which means to give information to someone. Examples are, tell me the truth, and can you tell her about the plan? So the key difference between say and tell is that tell, it almost always has a direct object.
It does.
Someone you're giving the information to.
Absolutely. That's a really crucial grammatical distinction. You say something, but you tell someone something.
Right.
It's a very subtle difference, but it can really impact the clarity of your communication.
Yeah. Okay, next up is ask, meaning to request something or a question. So we have, can I ask a question? And he asked me to help him. Again, a very, very fundamental verb for seeking information or assistance.
It is, absolutely. Ask is essential for initiating inquiries and making requests.
Yeah.
It's how we bridge gaps in our knowledge and how we seek support from others.
Right. Okay. Then we have call, which can mean to use the phone.
Yes.
Or to say a name.
Yeah.
So we have examples, I'll call you later, and they call me Joe. It's interesting how one word can cover both a phone call and naming someone.
It is.
Is there a historical connection there, or is it just a coincidence?
That's a fascinating question. While the exact etymological links are a bit complex, both meanings do relate to some form of vocal communication or identification.
Okay.
Whether it's addressing someone directly with their name or it's reaching them through a vocal medium like a phone, it's a great example of how language evolves and connects seemingly different actions through this kind of shared concept of vocal interaction.
That's really interesting. Okay, so our next verb is talk, meaning to speak with someone.
Yeah.
And we have examples like, let's talk after lunch, and she talks too fast. And the note here is that it's generally less formal than speak.
It is. That's a helpful nuance to remember. Talk generally implies a more informal conversational exchange, often between 2 or more people. So think about chatting with friends. You likely say talk, not speak.
Right. Okay. And that leads us to speak,
Yeah.
which is indeed more formal than talk. And we see this in the examples. Can I speak to the manager? Which sounds way more formal than can I talk to the manager?
Yeah.
And he speaks French very well. So speak often suggests a more official setting.
It does.
Or a focus on the ability to use a language.
Exactly. Speak often suggests a more official or kind of a public form of communication, or it really focuses on the clarity and the articulation of the language, but the context usually gives you a strong clue as to which verb is more appropriate.
Right. And finally, in this set, we have answer, meaning to reply to someone.
Yeah.
And examples are, please answer the phone, and I answered all the questions. So it implies a response to a direct communication.
It does. Answer really indicates a direct response to a question, a call, some form of communication that was specifically directed at you.
Right. Okay, so that's say, tell, ask, call, talk, speak, and answer.
Yep.
All essential tools for navigating conversations.
We are.
Okay. So let's shift gears now and explore verbs that we use to express our inner world, our feelings, and ideas.
Okay, so this category is vital for expressing your thoughts and emotions effectively in English.
Right.
The first verb here is think, meaning to use your brain.
Okay.
And we have examples. I think this is a good idea, and what do you think? This is a very fundamental verb for expressing opinions, beliefs, those cognitive processes.
Absolutely. It covers everything from a quick thought that pops into your head to a more carefully considered opinion.
Exactly. It's that cornerstone of expressing your internal mental activity.
Right. Okay. And next we have know, meaning to have information.
Yeah.
And examples are, I know the answer and she knows my name. This is about possessing facts or having an understanding of something.
It is. Know signifies a state of being aware of something or being familiar with it. It implies a level of certainty, a level of understanding.
Right. Okay. Then there's feel, which is used to talk about emotions.
Yeah.
And we have, I feel happy today. And do you feel okay? And this one's like key for expressing how we're experiencing the world internally.
It is. Feel connects to our senses and our emotional state. It's really how we articulate our internal sensations and emotions.
Right. Our next verb is want, meaning to wish or desire. So examples are, I want some coffee and she wants a new job. Expresses a longing or a desire for something specific.
It does. Want expresses a longing, a desire for something. It indicates a preference or a goal that you're hoping to achieve.
Right. Following that is need, indicating something important or necessary.
Yeah.
And examples are, I need help and you need to study more. So this suggests a greater level of necessity than simply wanting something.
It does, precisely. Need implies a requirement, something essential for well-being or achieving a really critical goal.
Right. Okay, we then have remember, meaning not to forget.
Yeah.
And the examples are, do you remember his name? And I don't remember where I put my phone. So this relates to our ability to recall past information or experiences.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've all had those moments where we wish we could remember something.
Absolutely. Remember is such a vital cognitive function for learning and just navigating our daily lives.
It is. It is. And finally, for this set, we have forget, meaning can't remember.
Yes.
And examples are, I forgot my keys, and don't forget to email me.
Yeah.
The direct opposite of remember, of course.
It is.
And another very common experience.
Yes. Forget indicates a failure to recall something, whether it's a name, a task, or an object.
Right. So those are our 7 verbs for feelings and ideas. Think, know, feel, want, need, remember, and forget.
Yeah.
Now that we've kind of explored them all, it's your turn as the listener to actively engage. Let's put these verbs into practice.
I like it. This is a fantastic way to really solidify your understanding. So I'm going to read a short sentence, but I'm going to leave out one of those 21 verbs that we've discussed.
Okay.
And your task, listener, is to think about which of the verbs that we've discussed would fit best in that blank space.
Right. So are you ready to test your knowledge?
Let's do it.
Okay. Here's the first one. I always a big breakfast. What verb do you think completes that sentence most naturally?
So the answer here is have.
Right.
I always have a big breakfast. It fits the meaning of regularly experiencing or doing something.
Exactly. Okay. Next up, can I use something?
Okay, in this case, the best fit is ask.
Right.
Can I ask you something? This clearly relates to requesting information.
Okay. Good job. Sentence number 3. He, me about the new plan.
Okay, so the answer is told.
Yeah.
He told me about the new plan. This fits the meaning of giving information to someone directly.
Right. You're doing great. Here's the next one. I like going out tonight.
Okay, here the correct verb is don't, the negative form of do.
Right.
I don't like going out tonight. It expresses a feeling or a preference.
Right. Again, number 5. Don't your phone again.
The missing verb is forget.
Yeah.
Don't forget your phone again. This is about the inability to recall something.
Okay. Spot on. Sentence number 6. She really sad today.
Okay. The answer is feels.
Yeah.
She feels really sad today.
This directly connects to expressing an emotion.
Yeah. Okay. Almost there. Number 7, I need to my boss.
Okay, the correct verb is call.
Right.
I need to call my boss. This refers to using the phone to communicate with them.
Yeah. Okay. And here's a bonus one for you. Let's meme a movie tonight.
Now, while watch wasn't one of our core 21, it's a super common verb you definitely need to know.
Yeah, it is. And the bonus answer is watch.
Right.
Let's watch a movie tonight.
Yeah.
It fits the context of viewing something for entertainment.
Yeah, excellent. How did you do, listener? We hope you got most of those right.
I hope so too.
Now, for a little extra practice that will really solidify your learning, we encourage you to actively try using at least 5 of the 21 verbs we've discussed today in your own sentences.
Yeah.
Saying them out loud, even to yourself, can really make a big difference.
That's absolutely right. Putting these verbs into practice in your own context is key to making them a natural part of your spoken English.
Right.
It's one thing to understand them, but actively using them will really solidify their meaning and make them readily available when you're speaking.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Let's bring this deep dive to a close.
Okay.
What's the key takeaway from our session today?
So the main thing to remember is that we've explored 21 essential verbs that are absolutely fundamental to everyday English conversation. And by understanding and actively using these verbs, you gain the power to clearly describe your actions, express your thoughts and feelings effectively, and communicate with greater confidence and clarity in a wide range of situations.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. And what's a clear next step you can take to continue your learning?
Well, we strongly encourage you to choose at least 5 of these verbs, perhaps the ones that you found yourself thinking about a little more during the episode, and make a conscious effort to use them in your very next English conversation, no matter how short it might be.
Yeah. And do we have a final tip to help accelerate your progress?
We do. Make it a regular habit to say full English sentences out loud every single day, even when you're alone. This practice helps to strengthen those neural pathways in your brain for speaking English and will make it feel much more natural and automatic over time.
Right. So here's a final thought to really get you thinking about the bigger picture. Consider how mastering these fundamental verbs, these essential building blocks of communication, can unlock your ability to express yourself in more complex ways and ultimately open up new and exciting opportunities for a deeper connection and understanding in the English language.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today we're going deep on something so basic, it's almost easy to miss.
Oh, yeah.
21 English verbs, the kind that make up everyday conversation.
Okay.
We're working from a list found in resources for English language learners just starting out.
So really basic stuff.
Yeah.
Simple verbs, core meanings, examples you'd use every day.
Right.
But the goal today isn't really a review.
Yeah.
It's more like we want to see why really understanding these words can open up how much you understand.
Yes. And that's regardless of how much English you know already.
Precisely. The fascinating thing about beginner material is that it makes you look at what's truly essential.
Right.
And these 21 verbs are grouped in a way that reflects just that, like the core of what it means to be human.
Huh.
So we've got actions and routines, daily life stuff,
Okay.
then verbs we use when we're talking to each other.
Communicating.
Right.
Okay.
And finally, words for our inner world, feelings, thoughts.
Interesting. So this organization already gives us a powerful framework.
It does. And thinking about you, the listener, no matter where you are with English,
Yeah.
whether you're helping someone learn, brushing up yourself, or you just like the nuts and bolts of language,
I'm in that last group.
well then, seeing how much work these verbs do can offer real insight.
Okay, so it's about understanding those mechanics underneath.
Exactly.
How we build meaning.
Yes. So let's dive into those verbs that describe what we do every day, actions, routines, that kind of thing.
Perfect.
The first one is go.
Okay, go.
It means move from one place to another.
Right.
And the example they give is, I go to school every day.
Now, that seems pretty obvious, but
But think about it. We're always moving somewhere.
yeah, true.
Every single day is full of instances of going places. It's like the main way we interact with our world.
That's a good point. And right next to go, we have come.
Ah, yes. Come is interesting.
So it means move to your location.
Right.
Like in, my friend comes to my house every weekend.
This pairing right away shows us something really important about language.
What's that?
Perspective. The same action physically can be described differently.
Okay, Gabato.
Who's talking and where they are. It's a core relational concept baked right into these basic verbs.
That's so cool. And, as native speakers, we pick that up without even thinking about it.
Right from the time we're little.
But for someone learning English, understanding that.
Linguists might call it the dialectic center.
Right.
That's really important for getting it right.
Okay, so next up we have eat.
Yeah. Eat.
Okay.
Put food in your mouth. Simple as that.
And the example.
I eat breakfast at 8 a.m. It's a basic need, right?
Absolutely. It's biological.
And they express it with the super direct verb.
I like that.
Yeah.
And then we have its partner in crime.
Oh, you mean drink?
Exactly. So that means...
Take in water or another liquid, like I drink coffee every morning.
Right. Another essential one. These aren't just actions. They're part of our survival, how we live each day.
Think about how many times these ideas come up, even indirectly.
Oh, yeah. All the time.
It's interesting, though, because they often become the basis for social things, too.
Like what?
Let's go grab a drink, or did you eat yet? They're not just about me doing something. They're how we connect.
That's true.
Okay, moving on.
All right.
We've got sleep,
Sleep.
meaning rest at night. Example, I sleep at 11 p.m. This verb speaks to our need to recharge.
To our body's natural cycles.
Exactly. And to go with that, of course, we have wake up.
Wake up, meaning...
Stop sleeping. Like, I wake up at 7 a.m.
These two, sleep and wake up, they're the bookends of our conscious day,
We can't talk about a routine without them.
That's so true.
And the last one in this group is take,
Take.
meaning to hold or carry something. Like, I take my bag to school.
Okay, so take seems simple, but it's actually super interesting.
It is, because that core idea of taking, of acquiring or holding on to something, it stretches into so many different situations.
You're right. You take a bus, take a chance, take responsibility.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even at this basic level, you can see how one verb can have a bunch of meanings that are all connected.
That's fascinating. All right, so we've looked at what we do on our own, our daily actions.
Right.
Let's move on to how we connect with other people, those verbs we use for talking to each other.
So this category takes us from what we do individually to how we interact.
Okay.
The first one up is say.
Say, meaning.
Speak words.
As simple as that.
Like he says hello to me every day.
Exactly. It's that basic action of making a sound with your
The
voice.
very beginning of talking.
Right.
And then we have tell, which builds on that.
Yes. Tell means give someone information.
Like, I tell my mom everything.
Exactly. So the focus shifts from just speaking to actually sharing something you know.
So you say something, but you tell someone something. Exactly. And tell almost always needs someone on the receiving end of that information.
Okay, so next we have ask.
Ask, meaning say a question.
Like, can I ask a question?
Precisely. This verb is all about actively trying to learn something.
It's about being curious and wanting to engage.
Exactly. And naturally, it has a counterpart.
You mean answer.
Right. Answer, meaning give a reply. Like, I answer the teacher's questions.
So ask and answer show how communication is a two-way street.
Precisely. It's a dialogue. These two are essential for that back and forth.
Okay. Next up is call.
Call, meaning speak on the phone.
As in, I call my brother every night.
Right. This is how a lot of us stay connected in the modern world.
Even with texting and everything else, call still means that specific audio connection.
Right. And then we have talk.
Meaning,
Speak with someone.
like I talked to my friend after school.
Exactly. This emphasizes the interaction, the conversation part of communication.
Yeah. I guess you can say something to a group, but usually talk with someone.
That's a subtle but important distinction.
Okay, and the last verb in this group is listen.
Listen, meaning hear with attention.
The example they give is, I listen to music.
But when we're talking about communication with people, listen goes beyond just hearing.
It becomes a skill, something you do actively.
Exactly. It's about taking in what someone is saying and trying to understand it.
It's about engaging with what you hear.
Precisely. So we've covered what we do in our daily lives and how we interact with others.
Now it's time to turn inward.
To our final category.
Verbs for our feelings and thoughts.
This is where we get into that subjective experience, what's going on inside.
I like it.
The first one is feel, meaning have an emotion.
Right.
And they give us two examples here. I feel happy today,
Okay.
and she feels tired. So it covers both emotions and physical sensations.
It's how we express our inner landscape.
Exactly. And closely related to that is think.
Meaning,
Use your brain, basically.
like, I think this movie is good.
Right. This verb lets us share our opinions, make judgments, show our thought process.
It's about that internal reasoning.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Think represents that mental activity, how we process information.
Next up is know.
Know, meaning have information, like I know the answer.
So this shows a state of understanding.
Right. You're certain about something. It's a powerful verb.
Yeah, it conveys a sense of conviction, of awareness.
And then we have a pair that deals with memory.
Oh, you mean remember and forget?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Remember means don't forget, like I remember your name.
And then forget, the opposite, meaning can't remember.
Right, with the example, I forget my keys every day.
Yeah.
I think we've all been there.
Oh, yeah. These two verbs really highlight how our memories can be both amazing and totally frustrating.
What's interesting is that both remembering and forgetting are key parts of how our minds work.
It's true.
And this basic list acknowledges that.
By including both.
Exactly. Then we have want.
Want. Yeah.
Desire something, like I want a cup of tea.
It expresses our preferences, what we're drawn to.
And our aspirations. It shows what drives us.
Okay. And finally, we have need.
Need, meaning something important, like I need help.
So this verb indicates a requirement, sometimes with that sense of urgency.
Yes, need often means there's something missing, something we require to function or feel okay. It's not just a desire.
So we've now explored these 21 verbs across these 3 big areas of our lives.
We have.
It's amazing to see how these simple words form the basis for so much of how we communicate.
They really are the foundation.
You know, the source material actually had a little exercise. It was a fill-in-the-blank kind of thing. And it really gets you thinking about how these verbs work in context.
Okay, I like that.
Like, I blink coffee in the morning, it's obviously drink.
Right.
Or she blinked to work by bus, that would be goes.
It's these everyday situations where you see how important they are.
Exactly. And the exercise had some for the other categories, too.
Like what?
Well, there was, they blank their homework after school. The answer was do.
Showing how even a small verb like do is crucial for describing actions and tasks.
Exactly. And then for our interstates, there was, I blank happy when the sun shines.
Feel is the clear answer there.
Right. And for connecting with others, I often blank my family who live far away.
Call fits perfectly.
Then there were some for the memory verbs, too. Like, I always blank where I put my phone. I think forget is a common one for many people.
Oh, yeah. And that moment of recognition, that aha, when you realize which verb fits, that's key to becoming fluent and confident.
Absolutely. Oh, and there was one for listen to. I love to blank to music while I work.
Listen is the obvious choice there.
And it often takes the preposition to after it.
It does. So even in these simple examples, you see these verbs doing all the heavy lifting.
You really do. The source material actually challenged the listener to do something.
Oh, yeah?
To use just 5 of these verbs in full sentences today.
Wow, that's deceptively powerful. It's about taking that passive understanding and making it active.
Putting it into practice.
Exactly. Because by consciously using these verbs when you speak, or even just in your head, you strengthen your grasp of what they mean and how to use them.
That's a good point. So think about your interactions today. What will you do? Who will you talk to? How will you feel about it?
It's a way to become more aware of those building blocks of language.
And how they fit together.
So, for a final thought, consider this. These 21 verbs, these seem simple, but they allow us to communicate in incredibly complex ways.
They're the foundation.
Exactly. And if you can truly master these essentials, what other possibilities open up for understanding and expressing yourself in English?
That's a great question.
And maybe even more broadly, in any area of knowledge, what are those fundamental building blocks that unlock a deeper level of understanding?
That's a fantastic point to ponder.
It is.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the essential verbs of everyday English.
It was my pleasure.
We really encourage you to take on that challenge. Use at least 5 of these verbs consciously today.
You might surprise yourself.
You might find that it brings clarity and confidence to your understanding of the language.
Until next time.
Until our next deep dive.